Hi, welcome to another Behind the Slates episode. I am Shafi, the co-director of Ecosystem Rasa. Before we start, I just want to say that we are releasing Ecosystem Rasa in cinemas on 12th March at One Cineplex. So see you guys there if you want to watch the documentary.
Scene 6, shot 7, take 1. Mark.
Action!
So phase 2 is when we filmed the researchers, that is kind of like the knowledge of this documentary. And also we were filming the most important part of the documentary, the food. We showed how gula anao could be interpreted, could be cooked in many different ways.
Day 2 of filming, we're at Brunei. Sorry, it's raining. We just wrapped the shoot. The shoot went really well, honestly. We interviewed Tuan Zainal he's the president of Persatuan Kedayan. The biggest part that I took away from the interview is realizing that culture doesn't really die with through time, it dies through individuals. So you have the power to keep your tradition going. Tomorrow we're gonna be interviewing the researchers, the experts in UBD. So yeah.
So during the interviewer question, we actually had an issue because we wanted to film it at the offices in UBD, but the office were too cramped to fit all 10 of us in. Maman had to wait outside. I also wasn't on set because I was about to get married to my wife. I was just on the phone doing the interview and listening in. Joshua and Kila was the ones who were leading the interview and they did amazing at it. What we learned from the interview, I would say, me as a director, as much as Nasri, shout out to Nasri, did all his research, I didn't want to read all of it because I didn't want to go into the interview already knowing everything. I wanted to know what questions I wanted to find out. As an example, Dr. Shafi was the mangrove expert. Dr. Merlin was the Gula Anao expert in a way that he knew everything about Gula Anao, the history, how it started in Brunei and whatnot, the relationship Brunei and Limbang has because of it. And I found myself truly intrigued because, in my opinion, if I wasn't intrigued during interviews, then how are we going to make it intriguing in the documentary? We would need to do God's work to make it fun. That's when I kind of knew, okay, we got something here. We got something that is worth sharing to Bruneians, and there's a story here that's worth telling. And not just worth telling, it needs to be told. And now, after we were done with the interviews, it's time to go to the more fun part. Not saying the interview part was boring, but again, this is more action-based. You know, more stimulating, I guess, for people with ADHD like me. We essentially went to Dils. So at Dils, we experienced Kahar Fiara and Shami Fadila making their own interpretation of the Gula Anao. What we wanted to do with this section was to show that Gula Anao can be made as an appetizer, as a main dish, and as a dessert. And Kahar Fiara and Shahmi were part of the main dish part. So this is, I would say, the most famous part of the documentary because after that, they actually ended up doing 4-course meal with Gula Anao, and the Sayap Ayam Berisi was the most best reviewed one, honestly. And thinking about it now, because we're filming this during Puasa, I am hungry. During the shoot in Dils, it was pretty fun. It was pretty hectic at times. And I think that's what kind of made the documentary a bit more special. We didn't take ourselves too seriously. We didn't act in a way that we are bestowing knowledge. We're kind of like, we want it to be a participating experience for the audience. So when they watch this, they feel like, oh, these people are relatable. We didn't get Michelin star chefs from Malaysia or whatnot. We got Bruneians who are amazing at cooking and sharing their love for food with Gula Anao or through Gula Anao. And that is what I think is amazing. And then we move on to Ikoponis and we met with Kak Ion. So Kak Ion is a good friend of mine, very precious person. So Ikoponis is kind of a mix of a lot of things. It's a resort, it's a restaurant, There's a park, you could just hang out there. And it's all the way in Tutong.
So a little situation arose earlier. We were 3 minutes away from filming. Camera set up, light set up, sound set up. Then it started raining. Production life, am I right? So we are resetting up and we are, well, definitely over time, running behind schedule, but we'll make it work, I think.
So at Ikoponis, we experienced Kak Ion making a dessert and also an appetizer. Now that Kak Ion has made her dish and Kahar has made his dish at Dill's, now it's time for them to taste each other's dish. When we filmed this part, I think it made me realize like, wow, because again, Kahar has a whole different background in cooking and Kak Ion has her own traditional and kind of more of a different generation type of thing. But at the same time, she's also trying to modernize traditional foods. Hi, so basically I'm here with Kahar, our modernized cook. What is it called? Contemporary cook. Kahar has made his amazing dish, his chicken wing, that will there's gonna be a food exchange essentially between you and Ion.
Like a exchange of tasting in terms of something a bit more modern and something a bit more traditional.
So it's gonna be a sharing session between those two. It made me realize how kinda diverse food is and how diverse things can be interpreted. It's always interesting to see two passionate people interact with each other, especially if they're passionate about the same things, you know? That is the special part of this documentary because it's a sharing session, which is a very Malay thing. You come to hang out at someone's house, you get food. There's kueh, there's this, there's that. So I think there's a lot of Malay culture that we like to share. Us including that part into the documentary, again, ain't normal in any other cooking documentaries that chefs share food to each other. If anything, they would like criticize each other's food, but this one is just purely sharing and purely conversing. I think the key word is conversing. We want to create a conversation with the youth. We want to start a conversation between the food industry as well about Gulaan Now, and we want to increase awareness on Gulaan Now. And I think this whole section, especially in phase 2, we feel like we achieved that. I'm glad we did it the way we did. And if I were to go back in time, I would have done the same thing, as hectic it was, traveling from Dils all the way to Ikoponis so the food doesn't go bad. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much. See you guys in the next episode. Bye.